You know how it's going on. I'm going to keep this riding until we get in trouble with Facebook.
Gotta be.
In the prototypical Michael Tipton fashion. Let's see how many buttons we can push with Facebook before they just completely ban me. I've been there before. I'm not afraid of it.
It's only an 8-day suspension.
Oh, yeah, come on. Power Serg, Sergio Robali, TIP, Mike Tipton coming at you live as we love to do for the Imperfect 10.
Yes. And if the music didn't give it away, she's back. She's got blue hair. And she's a heel like she should be.
Yes. Once again, people who should always be heels, Sasha Banks is that one.
Yes.
She should always be a heel. What do you think about the blue hair? How do you feel about the blue hair?
Loved it.
Loved it too.
And I loved how she came out with the wig showing like she still had the old purple hair and then beat down Natty and then took out the blue hair.
Yes. It was great. Everything about it was great. The whole spot, everything. Even Becky Lynch coming out. And
getting hit by a chair over and over again.
Did you think, like, at one of those points, one of the chair shots hit Becky kind of wrong? Because there was a few that looked like they hit Becky kind of wrong, man.
Yeah. They didn't hit quite on the flat part of the back. It was kind of more in the hip area.
Yeah.
That looked painful.
Yeah, it looked like someone was sending a message.
Yeah.
But
like, I hit you there on purpose.
Yes. Like, come on now. This is supposed to be my division. I'm back. And what do you think the plans are now that Sasha Banks is back?
It's going to be a nice 4 to 5 month rivalry being built up here. You can build a long story between these two. There's a lot of history with them. We all know that they're amongst the 4 horsewomen that everybody keeps talking about with the women's evolution, along with Charlotte and Bayley, of course, who are on SmackDown. So they can build a huge story. I mean, they've already done it on NXT, so it's just a matter of repeating. Well, not so much repeating, but creating a new story that people are just going to get hooked on.
I'm all about this, but it kind of seems like everything is kind of predetermined to me. They're not bringing back Sasha without some promises being made. You know what I mean?
She's going to be the one that's going to dethrone the man and take the title away from her.
Yeah. And that's...
And that'll probably just go back and forth between them for a while.
Yeah. And kind of like the whole Charlotte Flair Sasha thing did a few... That's 2 years now.
Just as long as they don't do it where she wins it in the pay-per-view and then loses it the next night on Raw. As long as it's like... wins it in the pay-per-view and at least holds it for one pay-per-view event or couple.
I mean, they got to, right? Like, they have to.
They have to.
But I'm excited. I'm excited that she was back. A lot of people were kind of like, what was going on? My dude, James Steele, who tuned in not too long ago, also kind of had mentioned previously that he felt that if she didn't come out at SummerSlam, she was gone. I felt the same way. I'm sure you might have felt the same way, too. Like, that's where you thought she was going to come out. She was going to turn on Bayley.
Yeah.
And, Bayley loses the belt or Bayley keeps the belt because of the disqualification. It brings up that rivalry. Interesting to see that they went with the Becky Lynch rivalry, though, right? Because would you rather see the Bayley one, or do you think that was kind of played out over the last few months leading up to WrestleMania?
Well, that was one of my favorite rivalries during the NXT days. That when they were there, especially that 30-minute Iron Woman match that they had, which I relived a couple of weeks ago, and enjoyed the match again. Especially because Bayley got the win that put her over the top.
Yeah.
Literally with 5 seconds left on the clock. Mm-hmm. And it was great how they did it, and I was looking forward to maybe building that, but I had a feeling that if she ended up somewhere, it was going to be on Raw, because I think she feels more comfortable working with Heyman than Bischoff.
I can see that, and I can understand that. Want to give a shout out to Patty Ivan Villarreal, who's saying, "Hello, gentlemen, glad to tune in. Thank you so much for tuning in to the sexiest time on a Thursday." Has to be, right?
Has to be.
Like, we can't do it on Hump Day because Fire and Ice, I mean, that's way too much sexy. So it has to be contained to a Thursday. Want to give a shout out to some people that are tuned in right now. My dude, Evan Folan. Evan, get well, brother. Jennifer Gonzalez, Carmen Villalobos, Adrian Aleman, Becky Garcia. Thank you all so much. And, of course, the dude who I just saw join in, Pimi, Augustine Pimentel.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Imperfect 10 sports or choreographed sports production podcast.
And also Javier Parra, who tuned in, and he's giving a shout out to the El Paso Broncos 11 and 12 and under teams. They're going to the new Youth National Championship tournament in Round Rock, Texas this weekend.
Augustine Pimentel says that he's not glad that he tuned in. I mean, no one forced you to.
Nobody for you hit the button, buddy.
That was your choice. You wanted to be a part of this sexiness.
Now you are.
Yes, you are. You're just sucked in. You're orbiting around us now. Our gravitational pull has gotten you. And, of course, the Broncos 11 and under. Any youth sport, if you're out there, like you coach youth sports, you want to get a shout out, bring it on to us, man. That's what we're here for. We want to bring it out. It doesn't have to necessarily be wrestling. We can talk about whatever the hell we want. It's It's My Damn Sports Network. I can say fuck.
Yeah. What?
Boom. I probably shouldn't have said that while I was talking about kids sports, but hey, I'm the worst, man. I never once said I was good at this.
I don't know. It was perfectly timed that time, but
It felt good, and that's all that matters. Once
give a
again,
shout out also to my boy Danny Burke in Georgia, tuning in.
We got people in North Carolina. We got people in Georgia. The East Coast loves us, man. They love us. Some of the stuff that I kind of wanted to hit on winning the belt at SummerSlam. I hope we're not spoiling anything for anybody. If we are, again, why are you watching us?
Yeah.
And Augustine Pimentel says that we have a black hole type gravitational pull. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have friends. I have a gravitational pull, baby.
No light escapes us. But the best part about
Deadhead Lamb.
Oh, man. That was disturbing. It was cool, but it was disturbing, man.
Like when they first had the close up on it, it looked like that, and it was just like a darker version of his old Bray Wyatt song.
Oh, dude, I loved it. I'm finding a way that I could download it. If it wasn't for Sasha coming back, I would have played that one, but Sasha coming back was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Thoughts of like the way that the match went?
Visit his family in Ireland, refresh himself. But they're building this to be something bigger. That by the time Finn Balor comes back, I don't know if they'll wait till WrestleMania to do it, or if they'll do it at SummerSlam, or not SummerSlam, Survivor Series, or even possibly Royal Rumble. But
the Fiend versus the Demon, because it's just going to be great. Like, we all know it's going to be great. They both put on a hell of a show. They both work really well together. I loved the fact that Finn Balor, normal Finn Balor, the extraordinary guy, was actually able to put somewhat of a rally in there, was about to hit the coup de grace, comes down, gets right into the mandible claw.
Yeah.
Perfect. I thought that was perfect because it does set up things for the storyline going forward. And a lot of people were asking, why doesn't Finn just come out as the Demon? Once again, I hope we're not pulling back the curtain here on people. The Demon needs to be brought out. It has to have a reason to come out. It's
got to be pushed to that limit, yeah.
So you got to get that stuff. You got to understand that aspect of wrestling. The soap opera that is. It's like, our soap opera.
The soap opera that is the choreographed sports production.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I want to give a shout out to some people that are tuned in right now. My sister, Nancy Tipton, up in Lubbock. We got nothing but love for you. Carlos de la Torre, Mike Vasquez III, and Porfirio Moreno. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and Nate Miller right now as well. Patty Villarreal saying that she does have a couple of event announcements. If you don't mind, I'll say some of these event, man. Over here in the area of El Paso, Texas, we got the Full Moon Bash August 16th from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Hippie Girl Spa and Boutique, and a Kids Expo, Be a Buddy, Not a Bully. That's going to be Saturday the 17th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Bassett, and she will be the mistress of ceremonies out there as well. So if you guys get an opportunity to go out there, of course, Be a Buddy, Not a Bully, something I can 100% be behind. You need to pay attention to that, Augustine.
Yes.
He's not a bully. He's just a great guy.
Danny Burke says that needs to be a WrestleMania match, The Fiend versus the Demon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we're saying. I think it's got to be built up at Rumble, right?
Yeah.
Like, Rumble's the one that builds it up. I would love if the title was on the line. We got to find some title to give them.
Could be the U.S. title, could be the IC title, depends on how it goes. I know right now you're still seeing a lot of stars crossing back and forth between Raw and SmackDown. It's official, though. Come October, when SmackDown Live moves to Friday nights on Fox, that'll end. It'll go right back to the split. Where Raw stars stay on Raw, SmackDown stars stay on SmackDown. And
so what happens with the 24/7 title? Which is now held by Elias, I think. Unless it's changed over the last couple of days.
Unless something else has happened.
Yeah.
Elias was the last one to hold it.
So weird. He kills it for me.
It's not as exciting. It's more entertaining when it's Drake Maverick and R-Truth.
On R-Truth, right. Who's going to take it from him now? Who's going to take it from Elias? I don't care. I'm the worst. But going back over to like the Fiend and Finn Balor and like everything we're kind of expecting for that, that's like a WrestleMania headlining match, right? So what do you do with the Universal title? What do you do with the WWE title? Which, by the way, the WWE title being defended by Kofi Kingston, I was kind of cool with, but I also wouldn't have been mad if Randy Orton won it.
I was more honestly upset how they ended that match.
Yeah.
There was no decision. They both they got double count out.
Do you think that kind of leads up to like something like a Hell in a Cell type match for the next one? Like it has to, right?
You have to assume either they're going to do something at Clash of Champions or they're going to hold off until Hell in a Cell and have a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
which would be interesting between these two guys to have a Hell in a Cell match.
And that's what I kind of want because those two guys work very well together. That match didn't disappoint. One of the matches that did disappoint to me was AJ Styles and Ricochet. I don't know why, but I did find myself, as rare as this is, kind of just bored with the match. And I love anything with AJ Styles and anything with Ricochet, but that match was just, it was so underwhelming.
Like I've seen all these moves before.
Yeah.
They weren't doing anything new and exciting.
No. And, of course, AJ retains the title, all that good stuff. Goes after Seth on Monday Night Raw. Almost hits him with the Styles Clash off the top, but, Seth kind of gets saved. I can't remember who saved him.
Ricochet.
Was it? That's right. It was Ricochet.
Ricochet comes out to save him. He gets beat down, and then Braun Strowman came out.
Yes, there we go. It was Braun. I knew it was a big guy because he
and then Braun Strowman
bulldozed Gallows.
Picks up Seth Rollins' Universal title, hands it to him, and now he's going for the U.S. title on Monday night.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Braun's winning that, right? Like they gotta put
you
a title
assume
on
that now that Heyman's is looking and going, how the heck is this guy not getting the push he deserves?
Yeah.
And I think he's thinking that, and he's going, I'm going to push him again.
He
needs to get pushed back to that level and then win the Universal title at some point.
They dropped the ball so hard with that, where they did the Baron Corbin things, stealing away the title, all that nonsense. What are the plans for Brock going forward? Because Brock losing the title, we have seen Brock at a lot more events recently. He has formally announced he's no longer going to do anything with the UFC. What are the plans for Brock going forward? Because Brock, for some reason, is starting to win the crowd back over.
At the boombox
Boombox Brock.
briefcase, boombox Brock helped a lot.
Why the fuck haven't I gotten my shirts?
We never got our Brock Party shirts. To this point, that was like 3 months ago.
It was, man. Like, I haven't gotten a refund. I haven't gotten shirts. I don't know what to do now. I actually called them on Monday because I was like, what the hell's going on? And still nothing.
They can't even give you an answer when we're expecting them.
It shows it was charged. Like, I was charged. I actually had to send them a picture of my bank statement where it said I was charged. WWE, I love you guys, but come the fuck on. Give me something. Probably give me a title for free now. Just give me a 24/7 title.
24/7
give it
title.
to me. Which, by the way, I have to put this up. I'm squashing this right now because you posted this over the weekend. You cannot pin me for any of these belts. There has to be a contract signing. I am a heel, so I more than likely won't show up to said contract signing. And you can go fuck yourself. Like, it's that simple.
Either that or he's going to hit me with a chair shot, then sign the contract when I'm out.
Stunner. And then it's going to be my rules. He has to wrestle in the tightest of Speedos. And it's only a crotch shot match, and I go first. I know how to retain my belts, man. I might not know much, but I know how to do that. Once again, you're listening to the Imperfect 10 or watching the
But
Imperfect 10.
if anybody wants to donate a 24/7 title,
that would be great.
No contract signing needed.
Nope, none at all. We have Anthony Snow just kind of hanging out in the window looking in. You guys check out his podcast, Comics Unpaneled, on the iHeartRadio app. Search it up if you're a big comic books fan. That guy knows his stuff. It's actually fun to listen to. Like, I'm not a comic book dude, but the guy knows his stuff, and it's fun to, like, just listen to that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Have you listened to it?
I listened to him sitting here talking to us about it and talking to comics. And I'm a comic book guy. I don't follow the new comics as much as I did, like, the older comics. But everything he tells me, I'm like, I completely understand what he's trying to explain.
Augustine Pimentel says, no wrestling talk, please. This is a wrestling podcast.
You tuned into the wrong show, Pimi. That's the whole point of this show.
He's like, I want to roast Antonio Brown. No, not today. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. You had your shot yesterday.
That's tomorrow.
And that's tomorrow. With
that's normally every damn day. It ain't today.
No.
I'm sorry, my brother. I got number love for you, but I'm sorry. It ain't happening today. We're talking wrestling. Wrestling. Today. He also says, you guys are the Anthony Ruiz of radio. You're damn right.
Yeah.
We knocked them motherfuckers out. Got the titles, baby. That's all we need.
My boy Daddy Burke says that you got to put them in the ring.
Put what in the ring?
The titles for grab in the ring.
That's it. We can do it. It needs to be a contract signing. I need to have an actual formal commissioner who's going to be on my side, by the way. So we're sure about this. Like, Shane McMahon is on my side. Right now, I am Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and whoever the hell is on my side is Eric Bischoff. Like, that's what it is. I might even spray paint like TIP. No, I won't do that. I don't
no.
too much. Yeah. But Danny Burke, If you can come down to El Paso by 5 o'clock today, you
From
can
Georgia?
you could be in the title hunt. Those are the stipulations, man. I'm the champion. I get to make the rules. I would be the worst, man.
Like, he's a little busy recruiting people to the Army, man.
Hey, I'm good with that. You got a job. I got a job. I don't have time to be defending my belts.
He's visiting high schools all over the greater Atlanta area.
And thank you for that, man. Thank you. That's a tough job to try to get those kids out there and do that stuff. And hopefully you're bringing in the right type of recruits, because I know people in the Air Force. I'm not going to get on that. Not going to get on that right now. Once again, you're listening to the Imperfect 10 Wrestling Podcast. Augustine Pimentel, Sergio Robali,
See,
Mike Tipton.
Daddy Brick's willing to take you. He's going to see if the Army has a flight for him to come on down.
Let's see, what time is it? I'm scared now. What time is it? Oh, damn, I got 4 hours. That could happen.
It could happen.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. And Jose Juan Valdez tells Pimi to shush. I love it. Loving it. Some of the stuff that I want to talk about, though, because it seems like we go on some weird tangents whenever it's you and I. Even Brandon can't keep us together. Like, we can't stay on. Whenever I was Brandon's producer on Crunch Time, I had such a hard time keeping him on track. And now I understand what it's like. Like, you just want to go off on a tangent and talk about whatever you want. When you're in control, you talk about what the fuck you want. Like,
yeah, whatever the hell you want.
And since it's my network, I could drop any cuss word I want. I love the internet. It's a wonderfully horrible place. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
There we go. America. But we were talking about Strowman before we went on that long tangent on a bunch of other stuff. They've dropped the ball on that so hard that do you think he can recover the steam? Because even Seth is losing steam, man. Like, you look at the stuff they're doing with Seth. Whenever they put him up with Becky Lynch, they both lost steam on that when they were trying to, push that relationship that they had. The WWE's dropping the ball on those big names and being able to keep the fire under them, right?
Yeah, because they're making them read from a script on their promos, and it's just let them be themselves.
Yeah.
Let them be more their natural selves, and I guarantee that the promos will be better, and the crowd will stay with them.
What can they do to kind of keep the fire under Strowman, though? Because it feels like the crowd wants to be there, but I think we have the same reservations of, yeah, you can give him a U.S. title match, but are you going to have AJ win via disqualification or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Braun wins via disqualification, but AJ keeps the belt. Like, what's going to happen here? Or do you have him just go out there and squash AJ and then bring up the match in the future with AJ and Seth, which is what I would like to see. So
It's going to be interesting how it goes. I know he still gets the pop, because every time you hear that roar, the crowd goes wild.
yeah.
So the crowd's still behind him, but at the same time, they don't know if they can trust the creative team in the backstage to actually push him like he needs to be pushed.
Want to give a shout out to Dana Morales, who just tuned in to the Imperfect 10 Choreographed Sports Production Podcast. That's wrestling, if you don't know. And yeah, Augustine Pimentel obviously didn't know. We hit him with the Choreographed Sports Production Podcast, and it threw him for a loop. I want to see them do kind of like what I said, where Braun goes in, squashes Gallows and Anderson kind of the way he did, squashes AJ Styles, wins the U.S. title, because that would be untouchable almost for him. And then AJ gets the push versus Seth, because I could see one hell of a show being put on by those two.
By the way, Danny Burke is calling you out. He says his Sarge KO comes out of nowhere.
Oh, whoa, hey, whoa, no. I like that. Sarge KO. I like it. As long as he doesn't stun me, I'm good. I got a trouble in paradise for you. You come down to paradise of El Paso, I got you, baby. Or Serge might even, you know what? We might just get counted out. I got more ways to win, man. I got champion's advantage. I'll get in the ring, I'll let the bell ring, I'll walk outside. I'll do the whole KO versus Goldberg thing, but not dropping the belt. I got ways, man. I got lots of ways. There ain't no cages here. Unless he wants to have the thing in here, in which case I'm fucked.
That kind of is cage, yeah.
Yeah, right. Augustine Pimentel comes into right. I really have not kept up with wrestling, but will the guy that came out in the Fast and Furious be back in wrestling? I forgot his name. He has leukemia or had. It means Roman Reigns.
He came out in Hobbs and Shaw.
It's Fast. Come on.
It's Fast and Furious Presents.
It's still Fast and Furious. Come on. I haven't seen the movie. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet.
I kind of want to.
But yes, he's actually been back for several months now.
Yeah, he's been back. They're kind of almost part-time in it is what it's like making sure he's healthy enough to perform on a regular
They're not
basis.
quite pushing him yet back to the top of the heap with the title runs and anything because they don't want to overwork him yet. So right now they're doing the whole mystery: who attacked him, who tried to run him over, who.
What do
We're
you think
supposed to
about
find
the way
out,
that-
and
what do
we're
you think
supposed to
about the
find
way that all
out
that
next
went?
week on Tuesday. So
It seems kind of dumb to me now. There should have been something at SummerSlam where that was the big reveal. Tuesday next week doesn't seem like it does anything to me. We're going on 3 weeks removed.
they're just trying to really push this storyline out to set up what everybody expects is going to be Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, which I don't think anyone's really all that into. Unless it's like Seth, maybe. We see a heel turn from Seth, probably not.
No, not while he's Universal Champion and stuck on Raw.
Think it might be bringing back someone like Luke Harper.
Now, the best thing I think for me is if some way, somehow, everybody's forgiving Samoa Joe for not being the guy and he's been the guy the whole time.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny. I would like that. That'd be a kind of nice little curveball.
Yeah.
I don't think their creative can do that, though, man. Their creative doesn't seem to have that kind of imagination.
I mean, if they had some of the teams from the Attitude Era when it turns out that Vince McMahon was the guy that Undertaker was worshiping the whole time, and it became the corporate ministry. See, that was a curveball nobody saw coming, and considering especially because of the fact that he kidnapped basically his own daughter,
Yeah, they're going to sacrifice her
and
on
then we got
TV.
sacrifice her on TV.
Also, the weird face he made when he took out the... He makes those weird faces a lot. I love Vince McMahon. Destiny says she thinks that Daniel Bryan should go back to being a manager. She doesn't like his flabby body.
But he's still one of the best in-ring workers in the game.
Is he?
I've always liked his matches.
I like his matches, but I think I'm thinking of older Daniel Bryan, which was a lot more reckless. We're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing a lot more reserved kind of guy.
He can't be as reckless
I
because
know.
of his neck.
I know, but
That's what led to all the neck injuries back then.
also she says that she would like to say that she doesn't like Samoa Joe caring about Roman Reigns either. Augustine Pimentel says he hates Daniel Bryan. In the real world, anyone can kick his ass. And should David Rodriguez try wrestling? I don't think he's got the personality for it.
He doesn't have the personality for it, and I doubt he can actually do any of the athletics jumps. And
Could you imagine him trying to take
Falls
a bump? Like a
I don't think he could
superplex
take a
off
bump.
the top rope?
Yeah.
He'd be concussed. Like, it would be that simple. Like he'd go in for one match and his career would be done.
if someone threw him into the corner, he wouldn't tuck his neck in properly, and his career would be over. He'd have a sting-like injury.
Oh, what a way! Why are you gonna bring up like the end of Sting's career like that, man? Bringing in the dark stuff.
Just saying, that's probably what would happen to David Rodriguez.
Again, you are listening to the Imperfect 10 Wrestling Podcast right here on the Just the Tip Sports Network. I almost said the other.
I almost said the other
I
one.
gotta
Yeah.
get used to it, man. I gotta get used to
It's been
it.
changed.
Yes. I don't like this angle that they're doing with the whole Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns thing, just because I don't see where it sustains. Like, you get one match and okay, cool. What's next for all of them?
Even if you get a couple of matches out of it, who's gonna get buried?
Yeah, because someone has to. So you're either burying Roman, which coming off leukemia is a very bad look, or you're burying Daniel Bryan, which coming off of retirement and concussions is a very bad look.
Yeah.
Unless maybe that's the big announcement that he needed to make, is he can no longer wrestle. Because we haven't really seen him in the ring putting in the work. And that, going back to that, maybe there is something wrong there where it must be this is who he wants to go out against.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But there needs to be some
Or
kind of
maybe I have
resolution.
too much
to it.
imagination.
Maybe. There's nothing wrong with imagination, though.
No.
Or too much. I don't think there's such a thing as too much imagination.
I'm saying it right now. The WWE needs to hire us.
Yeah.
Storylines.
Hey, they actually listened to us for one thing, though.
And what was that one thing?
King of the Ring.
I need to get
It's
like
not going to be a pay-per-view, but it's still going to be a one-day tournament. Mm-hmm. I know everybody they're talking about Raw and SmackDown starts next week, but that's just the qualifiers. You got eight men on Raw, 4 matches, and 4 matches on SmackDown to decide the 8 men that are going to qualify for the one-day tournament. And I believe they're going to have that one-day tournament at Clash of Champions.
Yeah. And that's, like, I'm about that. I want to buy a crown and a scepter now, just so we can be the kings of the ring. Destiny says, bury Daniel Bryan. No one cares about his goofy hippie ass anymore. Love it.
You're breaking my heart, Destiny. You're breaking my heart. That's all I got to say.
I love it. I'm all about it. Thank you. It's great, man. She's right. No one really does. But if he does have, like, if it's like another forced retirement, then I'm going to kind of feel bad.
I'm going to feel bad if it's a forced retirement, and she's going to feel bad too.
Probably not. Like, I'm going to be honest. Probably not.
I will make sure she feels bad.
Oh, you're just going to keep bringing it up?
Just going to keep bringing it up. She goes, she feels
tag her
even a
on,
little
like,
guilt.
all the sad stuff on Facebook and all that.
Yeah, exactly, until she finally gets a little guilt feeling.
She says, crack, crack, stomp.
What?
I don't know. Sorry, Serge. It had to be said. This is the next comment that she said there. I don't know what the crack, crack, stomp is. Like,
I don't know what crack,
I'm married to you, and I have no idea what you're trying to say right now. I'm going to be honest right now. Once again, Sergio Robali, Mike Tipton, the Imperfect 10. The King of the Ring coming back. I'm glad they're bringing it back in this aspect because I don't think it could be a pay-per-view standalone on its own anymore. But I would also like
not for a while.
I would also like it.
They got to build it back. I think they got to build it back up. Like the original King of the Ring used to happen during just the regular televised shows, and eventually grew into a pay-per-view. And if they had held it where it was still a one-day tournament, the pay-per-view I think would have still survived. No. But what they ended up doing is having most of the drawing out the tournament through Raw, and then having only the semifinals and finals on the pay-per-view, and that kind of killed the pay-per-view in my opinion.
Okay, so she goes into a little bit of information here. Crack, crack, stomp was Serge's heart breaking. And she says, also going back to you making her feel bad, says probably not, didn't care before, still don't. That is savage as fuck, man. that is intense. Like, even I kind of welled up a little bit with his retirement speech.
Wow.
Want to give a shout out to Coach Tony Grijalva and the Mondo, the Monster Medina, for tuning in right here to the Imperfect 10 Wrestling
The Iceman's tuning in right now, Cody.
Oh, look at Brandon the Iceman Cohen tuning in.
He has no idea what we're talking about, but he's in. He's watching.
He's in, and that's all that matters. Tune in to Fire and Ice every Wednesday live from Hooters for Bottomless Boneless Wings Day that Brandon cannot ever get.
Right.
If you watched
he
yesterday,
misses the cue over and over.
If you watched yesterday, my dude got roasted by someone who's never watched any of the stuff, who just came literally to buy a shirt, and she roasted Brandon's ass. Loved it. Yes, she roasted Brandon's ass.
Yeah, she did.
Loved it. The King of the Ring tournament, like that's what I want too. Is I want the one-day tournament. I don't want the long, drawn-out, like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you take away from what the actual tournament is. That one-day tournament, to me, like you said, hopefully leads up to a standalone pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But if not, why not put something like that on the network? Just strictly on the network, and then you can have an actual tournament, kind of like the Cruiserweight Classic.
I mean, they had Slamville, which was just a house show in Tennessee, become a WWE Network event.
Wonder why they don't do more with Starrcade, man. They've got Starrcade, like they've done Starrcades before.
They brought it back, but I know that since that was WCW's version of WrestleMania, it's kind of hard to make it as big because you don't want something that's going to be as big as WrestleMania or close to it.
Yeah, but I mean, it breaks up the monotony of what do we have in December? Vengeance? Or what the hell's the one in December now?
TLC.
Is it TLC?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not. Okay.
December's a TLC.
Okay. Well,
Tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh, my.
Not so bad. Like, not so mad about that now. That's actually pretty cool fucking
It's actually pretty cool.
Oh. The King of the Ring tournament, though, like, some of the people that are in it, you got to kind of think it's KOs, right? Like, Kevin Owens is going to be the dude who wins it all. Because, like I said, they're going the Stone Cold route with him, so why wouldn't it be?
It could be him, unless they want to go with a heel, and I think Drew McIntyre might be your guy.
I would like to see them push McIntyre more and, like, take him away from the whole Shane McMahon thing, because I think that kind of killed a lot of his
Well, if you notice, he hasn't really been showing up on SmackDown as much. Mm-hmm. He's only been on Raw, and he's been having those great matches with Cedric Alexander.
Yes, which, by the way, Cedric Alexander is amazing. Like, he was great as a cruiserweight, but he shows. And
if anybody ever watched the Cruiserweight Classic tournament,
yes,
he was not a guy who had a contract. He lost in the first round, but in that match, he took the guy who everybody thought was the favorite to the limit and almost beat him to the point where the crowd was so crazy that Triple H came out, raised his hand, and he basically earned his contract right then and there.
Yep. And it was like all that was great to see. Like that's what the the Cruiserweight Classic was for, was to say, okay, these are our guys that we could bring in. And they did bring in a few of those guys. Mustafa Ali, one of them. Cedric Alexander, like you said, some of the guys that were able to earn themselves a contract. I would like to see the King of the Ring thing go to something like that. And you could kind of draw it out over a couple of weeks, but you'd have to have so many people involved. And I would like to see some people from other, avenues involved. Some people from NXT Europe
NXT
and stuff.
UK, yeah.
Why not? NXT UK, bring in some cruiserweights, have like some of your main guys from the roster. Make someone like R-Truth not a caricature anymore, because he is such a great wrestler. Which, by the way, I was listening to something the other day, like some old school like WWE songs, because I was doing some research for our show. The only time I ever do research. K-Quick. I miss it, man.
Wow.
K-Quick and Road Dogg. Loved it. I should have played that coming in, but Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
But, a big thing.
By the way, in case anybody didn't know, R-Truth, before he came to WWE, when he was just Ron the Truth Killings on Impact Wrestling, was the first and still to this day the only African American to win their heavyweight championship.
Yep. He's a hell of a worker, man. He's a great athlete. Like people don't realize he's almost 50. Like he's a pretty old dude. Like he might actually be 50.
He's 52.
Wow. And he's in great shape, man. And he's a hell of a worker, and he does all that, like everything great. I love the stuff they're doing with the 24/7 championship, because it kind of keeps him relevant. But a King of the Ring thing like this, where you can actually show off his great in-ring ability because he's really good in the ring, would be great. So why not?
I actually saw some of the SummerSlam kickoff show when Drake Maverick was looking for R-Truth, and they're hiding in front of the announcer, the announce desk for the kickoff show. Mm-hmm. And they come out, and he's like, "We're live at NXT TakeOver Toronto." Carmella's like, "No, that was yesterday."
I love that stuff too, man. It is so damn good. Everything R-Truth does is good. It's gold.
It's gold. It is.
I think it's R-Truth and Tom Brady are my man crushes right now. And Baker Mayfield. I need to see more Baker Mayfield chugging shotgun and beers. There's your other sports talk, Augustine. See? Call back.
Yep.
Some of the other stuff that happened, though. I was surprised that there wasn't really like a Raw tag team title match.
Or SmackDown tag team title match.
The women's title match being defended on the kickoff show.
Yep.
Once again, I want to say Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss also defeated the Kabuki Warriors on Raw.
Yep.
I like seeing that the title is actually being used now.
And defend it on a more regular basis.
What's the future of the Iconics, though?
I don't know.
It seems like old Ty Dillinger going over to AEW kind of screwed one of them over, right? Once again, peeling back the fourth curtain, I guess.
A.K.A. Sean Spears, the chairman.
Yes. What's their future? Like, they're done, right? Like, they're basically done.
They're going to be, I think, comic relief for a while.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, their promos were always comic relief to me, and I enjoyed them. Still enjoy them, but it's just, I don't think, even from the moment they gave them the title, nobody in the creative team ever took them seriously as champs, and that's why they never defended them.
Yeah. And whenever they did, it was like stupid little gimmick matches and things like that.
It was against enhancement talent.
Yeah. Augustine Pimentel says, so could David Dummy Rodriguez be a wrestler? No.
No.
It takes so much more athletic ability than just being a big dude. And the big dudes now cannot just be big. Like, you look at a guy like Strowman, you look at a guy like Rowan. Rowan's surprisingly athletic for as big as he is.
Yes.
Big E, another one of these really athletic dudes.
Someone that hasn't come out on TV in a really long time, Luke Harper. Mm-hmm. Very athletic guy. Big guy, but extremely athletic.
Yeah. One of their best workers, too.
Yeah.
I understand why, well, I kind of understand why he's not on TV, but...
Vince doesn't like him, but I when we found out about King of the Ring coming back, I shot you a text message. I could just picture Vince in his office going, those two crazy sons of bitches have a great idea. Let's bring back the King of the Ring.
Oh, yeah. I'll say it's my idea. Yeah, I can picture Vince doing that as well. I want to give a shout out to our dude, David Halprin, joining in. Thank you, Dave. That's my dude right there, man. Those of you guys don't know, David. Hardest working dude I've ever met, to be honest with you. Saves KLAQ and, Town Square Media. Great engineer. Love me some David. Augustine Pimentel says his wrestling name could be Scarface. referring to David Rodriguez. And David Rodriguez is going to knock you out one day, dude. Like, it's going to happen. I won't laugh. Like, I'll probably be like, damn, he knocked out Augie, but, you know, hey.
Pee-me.
Old
Pee-me's out.
Pee-me
Got hurt.
And he laughs at his own joke again. Secondly, like, is there anything worse than the person that laughs at their own joke, like, twice on one post? I guess it was 2 separate posts. It's like liking your own post. Do you like your own posts?
No.
No, right? Because your way of liking your post is
It's
actually
posted it. I posted it. That's how I know I liked it.
So that's going to be the question out there to you now. And it's not about wrestling, but do you like your own posts? And if you do, why? I see a lot of that going on now. Like, why do you like your own
You
posts?
try to give yourself more love.
A little pat
on the back.
You create 3 other podcast channels just so you can like your own podcast. Who does that? That's a joke. I don't. Come on. And then Augustine Pimentel says he cannot knock me out. Hey, let's see. Let's get it in the ring. Celebrity thing. We'll raise up some money for it. Celebrity charity boxing event.
Pee-me, you better not hide on that side of the border, man. You better cross over here and eat your own words.
Yeah. Hey, I'll set it up, dude. I will text David Rodriguez right now. I will text him. We'll get this thing going on. It says he's fought beanbags. Wow. I think the match is happening. I love the heel turn by Augustine.
You know what? He may have fought beanbags, but those beanbags had a little bit more movement than you, Pee-me.
I don't know. I've never seen. I do call him the premier athlete. He was Tony Nese before Tony Nese, so maybe he's got something in the bag, man. We don't know.
See, now you got Pee-me scratching his head. Who the heck is Tony Nese?
Yeah, I know, right? Abs, Tony Abs, baby.
Tony Abs.
Which, by the way, he kind of looks like a professor at UTEP named Roberto Avantmir. So you get a chance to look him up. Tony Nese looks like a buff Roberto Avantmir. Shout out to you. It's a good thing.
All I want to know, all I want to see really is more Roman Reigns versus Buddy Murphy. That match was.
I think that would be good. That's the route they should go, unless maybe it was Buddy Murphy who was the one driving the car. Oh,
who knows? I mean, like you said, when you see when the crates came down on him, you do see a guy in a hoodie walking away, and he had a beard. And I know both him and Rowan have red beards, so.
I mean,
But
there's a
he didn't look.
size difference.
He didn't look as tall as Rowan, and that's why you figure Buddy Murphy and even Reigns says, "I know you were in the area," so that's why he's suspect. So maybe it was him all along, and he's just trying to throw him his scent off.
Jose Juan Valdez says Pimentel is brave, and then Augie just laughs at him. I mean, I want to get this thing going, man. Pee-me. Let's get it going.
Pee-me's brave. He's
For
social
charity.
media brave.
For charity. Let's get this
For
thing
charity,
done.
yeah. We'll raise some money.
I am all about it. I will stream it live on the Just the Tip Sports Network as well.
Yes.
It will be streamed live. We'll have people buy it. Why not? It'll be our own pay-per-view. Our first pay-per-view.
We don't need no weigh-in.
Brandon and I will do the play-by-play in color. You could be our ringside guy. Hey, let's do it.
Hell, I'll pull the Michael Buffer.
Hey, I'm good with it. You could be the... Yeah, let's do it. Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, everyone.
Although mine is probably going to be a whole lot closer to Road Dog.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
And if you ain't down with that.
Just the Tip Network breaks to you.
Augustine says, let's set it up. He blocked me on Twitter. LOL. Oh, hey, we'll call it a grudge match.
Yeah.
The grudge match of the century. Augustine Pimentel. David Rodriguez. Live on the Just the Tip Sports Network. And like lightning strikes or something. We'll create something.
Who gets their comeuppance?
Whose comeuppance comes first? Oh, dramatic. I love it. Real quick before we go, NXT TakeOver 2 in Toronto. What'd you think about it?
Loved it.
Great. Everything about it, right?
Yeah.
Io Shirai being a heel, I am all about. She put on a great show in her match as well. The Bruiserweight. Anything the Bruiserweight does, I'm with. Like, I want him to be on the main roster now.
He needs to be on the main roster.
He does. He is so damn
causing
good.
some damage.
The funny thing, though, we're watching NXT TakeOver 2 Toronto on Sunday because we didn't get to watch it on Saturday. My mother-in-law...
How was your double date?
Oh, we didn't go on the double date.
Oh, you guys didn't go on the double date? Okay.
I mean, Dustin and I still went over to Topgolf, which was a good time. Also, by the way, don't realize how sore you can get from Topgolf.
Even more so when you have a swing like mine, which is very Charles Barkley-like.
Your back is hurting, your ass is hurting, everything hurts.
Everything's hurting.
So we were watching that match between the Velveteen Dream, between the Bruiserweight,
and Roderick Strong.
And yeah. My mother-in-law, God bless her, she's old. Okay, she's 72. She says, we got a gay guy, a gnome, and a dummy in this match. That's what she kept referring to them as.
So I'm guessing Velveteen Dream was the gay guy.
Yep.
The gnome was the Bruiserweight.
Yep.
And the
dummy
was Roderick Strong.
Which I was like I started looking at him the whole time I'm watching the match. I was like, God damn, she's in my head, man. And that made me enjoy the match so much more.
And the gnome with the leg drop.
Yes.
Drop kick by the gay guy.
I just wanted to do the play-by-play for that, man.
The dummy with the near fall.
The dummy with all his backbreakers. He's so smart, he knows backbreakers. But I'm all about it. NXT to me puts on the best shows now.
And that's why everybody keeps saying, just why I understand bringing Heyman and Bischoff in as liaisons or wherever, but why can't just put Triple H in charge of creative? Look what he's doing with NXT.
Do you think that they're afraid that if he does that, then the NXT brand might have a significant drop-off, or can he handle both?
I think he can handle both.
He's young enough to be able to do it.
He shows up. He's at Raw taping and SmackDown tapings all the time.
He's not 150 years old like Vince.
No.
Vince remembers Abe Lincoln. Probably not.
Vince had coffee with Abe Lincoln one time.
Well, yeah. He had coffee with George Washington. That's how he got Stamford, Connecticut, man. He settled Stamford, Connecticut. But to me, I'm looking forward to some of the stuff that's coming up. Of course, next week we're going to be able to talk about leading up to AEW, where we finally get our championship. The champion gets crowned at AEW, that beautiful belt.
And the best part about that day, where All Out happens, which is August 31st, Saturday, is earlier in the day because it'll happen. It's going to be live, and they're in the UK, in Cardiff, the city of Cardiff, is the NXT UK takeover at Cardiff, and the main event there is for the UK title. Walter will be defending it against Tyler Bate, who happened to be the first UK champion before he lost it to Pete Dunne, who held it for almost 2 years.
Yeah. I got to go to some of these comments before we leave. Augustine Pimentel says, liking your own post. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Says the guy who guarantee likes all his own posts.
Jose Juan Valdez says, Pimentel is brave. Says, let's set it up. He blocked me on Twitter, all that good stuff. Dustin says, you never know. Augustine may not be as big as David, but he might fight like Mayweather. Replying to Destiny, Augustine says, I don't run. Going back over to Jose Juan Valdez, feed your ego, Pimentel, when you like your own post. Augustine also laughing at your no weigh-in comment, which was, by the way, gold. And then Augustine says, I can hit. And Jose Juan Valdez with the that's what she said comment. I don't know if that's talking about your dick game. Maybe he respects your dick game, man. Hey, stroking it. Those are the comments. Everyone, it was great. I love the feedback between them.
Yes.
It's amazing. Our listeners are great, especially Augustine. Peemy, who said he was going to join us on Wednesday.
Yeah.
If he doesn't join us, what's the punishment?
You're going to have to fight Rodriguez with Speedos, buddy.
Oh, yes. And oiled up. Yes. I love it. There's your stipulation, buddy. You don't show up on Wednesday. That's how the match is going to look. I'm going to text David Rodriguez right now and see if he's into a celebrity boxing thing. One celebrity. We'll call him the celebrity. He'll feed his ego. He'll be happy about it. He's not going to watch this, so he's not going to beat me up.
Yeah.
But, what if he does? Oh, well. I'm fine with it. I'll just get beat up. It's okay. This pretty face can stand.
I'll take pictures.
For Power Serg, Sergio Robali, I am Mike Tipton. You've been watching the Imperfect 10 Wrestling Podcast, and we'll see you all next week. Maybe if David Rodriguez doesn't kill me.